When I closed up my pool last year, I was having a ton of filter issues. I've got this Hayward DE filter system, and upon inspection, it's got a bunch of torn fingers and torn filter gaskets. So what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to switch out to a sand filter, see how that works. I got the Hayward 27-inch filter. So we are going to get that installed today, but the first thing I need to do is get this one out. So we'll demo this out and then we'll see how to get the other filter in and out. I got the 27-inch one and I just measured my access door, which is this, and then I have this one over here, and they're both smaller than 27 inches. So hopefully that filter is not a true 27-inch filter, because then I'm going to be in trouble. But the first thing we're going to do is get this old filter out of here. I've just got to undo some of the fittings. I'm keeping the pump. And I was going to keep this chlorinator, but it looks to be broken. So I've got a bunch of issues going on with this today. Anyways, let's get this old filter out. I definitely have a bunch of stuff I gotta do. This is right now what I'm working on is the back one, or the drain line. I need a bunch of stuff. So I need couplings, I need a bunch of fittings. So we're gonna have to run to the pool supply store today. But the first thing I'm gonna do is pull this out and then get the other one, try to get the other one in here. So that's what it looks like with the filter gone. And like I said, I'm keeping this pump. So I'm gonna have to chop the pump stand, filter / pump stand, because I don't need this section anymore. So I'll just use a Sawzall to do that. And hopefully that other filter sits right there. So let's pull this chlorinator out also, because it is bad, which I'm gonna have to do. I would like to reuse it, but the way that the last person jerry-rigged this stuff up, it may. I'm gonna have to cut all this out probably, unfortunately. Well, let's see. This sucker is broken and it's been glued, so I can't use that again. Let's pull that crap out. Now let's go unbox the Hayward filter. And I really hope it fits, because that is gonna make my day way more difficult if it does not. And of course, this has got, my pool room's got a ton of stuff in there. So anyways, let's go get a tape measure and measure all that and see if it fits. All right, here's the big filter. Multi-port. It looks really big. Not good. I think I'm going to do some demo on my walls to get this to fit, unfortunately. There it is. I had a tape measure. Looks like it's exactly 27. Great. All right, let's just run it back there and see if I can get it through the door. Thing is gigantic. It's definitely Crocs and athletic shorts weather today. All right, to access my filter from the other side, you can see that door over there. I need to hopefully get this door off, and hopefully I'll have enough room to get the filter in here. Otherwise, I'm gonna be doing some demo, and I do not want to do that. If I pull those trim pieces off. It looks like it will fit, so let's do that. So hopefully it fits. Come on, buddy. Oh, that's not good. Look, there's no wiggle room there, buddy. Nope. Did I tell you I'm pro level?
You're low level?
Pro level. My high level, pro level. All right, the next step is to cut this base off, because this is where the sand filter will sit. And this will be a little bit difficult. I probably need to get this out of the way somehow. I may have to disconnect the pump. Let's do that. All right, I'm gonna cut it like right, there's already a line right here, so I'm just gonna cut it right on that line. It should be close enough to straight. This ain't rocket science, so we just need to get it done. There's a line in the plastic, and I'm just gonna follow that. There's nothing here that's gonna cost me any money. See ya. Cut that off. It's not super straight, but it will do. All right, I've got that black piece out of there, the other old base, and I'm gonna get the bigger sand filter and put this in here. I'm probably gonna have to trim the old drain line. I probably just need to do it now because it's in with the sand filter, it comes to the top. It's gonna come way up here, so I probably should just cut it and then deal with it later. We'll cut this. Easy. That's 1.5 inch stuff. What I've been told is most pool fittings have gone to 2 inch, so let's go see what that multi-port is on top of the sand filter. Well, actually, let's get this. Let's get the new sand filter put in here first, and then we will. Hopefully, I don't have to push that pump way over there. But I guess the only thing to do is stick it in there and find out. Where is the drain? I think I'm going to set this up so the drain is pointing this way towards this door in case I ever need to drain this thing. There's the drain. So let's turn this. I don't know why this is being difficult. That is where this is going to live. I got the drain right here. Dude, seriously? All right, let's get the multi-port valve open and looked at. Before I run to the store, I just want to make sure that I understand what I'm working with here. Those are 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go put this in and kind of see how everything lines up, because pump, return, waste. Let's get this thing put in here. I need to see how many fittings I'm going to need. So I got this in here. The waste is going to go in and tie into the back over here. This waste line is going to come in and tie into the back over here. This is the pump. And then this is the return, which will come out this way. So I think I have to replace all of this stuff, I believe. So I need 3 unions at least. 1, 2, 3. I think I need to write this down. All right, about $400 later, I've got a bunch of fittings and 350 pounds of sand. So now we are going to get started getting this tank hooked up. I'm going to start, I think, with the pump line, which goes from the pump to the top part of the filter there. I'm just gonna loosely fit everything into place because I'm not sure if what I had originally thought is gonna work. So I just wanna make sure I get everything first. I'm gonna start with the pump, like I said. I may have to like come out and go down with the piece of tubing. All right, I gotta get some of that 1.5-inch tubing next. I've got the male adapters, one in the multiport and another one in the top of the pump, and we're gonna loosely fit the pipe in here. Let's see if I can get this in a better location. My pull room is like wicked tight. This looks like it will be just fine. There and there. We'll just do it like that. All right, I'm gonna put this piece in hard, or clamp it good, I should say, or attach it correctly with Teflon tape. And then we'll get the rest of this set. I'm gonna leave this thing in the sun while I'm doing that because it's really flexible when it's been in the sun. I've got this green Teflon tape. You don't need to use this kind. You can get any Teflon tape really. But I was at the pool store and this is what they had, so this is what we're going to use. Everybody's got a different way of putting this on, but I'll show you my way, which is nothing special, but I just hold up my thumb. Wrap it around a couple times, which I just messed up. Hold up my thumb again. Once you get one wrap around it, it should hold itself, and I do 2 to 3 wraps. That should be good. Almost. These don't need to be super duper tight. Hopefully that's good. We will do the same up here out of the multiport. It's hand tight, and then I don't know, do like a quarter turn on it. All right, I'm going to reattach the pipe to the pump. I'm just eyeballing it. And I want to make sure it clears this, because this has to come out and then this way. So I'll make sure it clears that pipe. So it looks like I just need to cut about right there, and we will be good to go. So hopefully I can cut it with a sharp utility blade, but sometimes it's not that easy. Looks like this one is going to work all right. I sometimes will use a Sawzall. Yeah, this cut good, but it's been sitting in the sun, so. All right. Wish I had a little bit more in there, but I don't. That is in. You can see it's pretty good install. And we'll put some clamps on there, and it should clear this section pretty well. let's get it clamped, and then we will go into the next phase. All right, I've got 4 stainless steel clamps that we are going to use to clamp the tube. And I alternate these. I don't know if you need to, but I do. What I mean is I have the screw head, clamp head facing opposite directions. I bought these ones at Home Depot, but you can get them anywhere. I'll find some on Amazon and put a link in there for you, so you can see which ones I bought, because they come in a bunch of different sizes, and if you don't know what you're looking for, it's gonna get confusing quick. So we got the clamps installed, 2 there, 2 there, pump, and we are going to install the return, which on mine goes up to here. You can see I got a mess of junk. I'm just gonna lop this thing off right there, stick a coupling on it, and run it back. So first thing I'm gonna do is get the male adapter, throw it in there. I'm gonna kind of just dry fit it all together. That seems to be the best way to do it. So let's get an 1.5" male adapter. I also got a Street 90, which is one of these, and I like those because they fit right in there if you got a real tight fit. I'm not sure I'm going to need it, but it's going to be close. So put this one in here, put this in here. It's going to come all the way, so I can just run a piece of pipe. It looks like it's going to like work out perfect. I need to find my tape measure. It'd be really cool if this was a straight shot. So this is 13 3/4 off the wall. Let's see what this one is. 12. So I may not be able to use this piece, but at least there's a lot of room in there. I'll probably use a regular 90 and get it to come out. But what I'm going to do first is lop this piece off, stick a coupling on it, and then we'll cut a piece of pipe that direction. Alrighty, let's get the Sawzall. Just like that, we're going to stick a coupling on there. I don't know if you saw that, but I didn't realize that was in front of the camera. We'll stick a coupling on there. Hopefully there's enough play to... This is pointing down a little bit for some reason. Like I said, we're going to run from that over to here, right there. So I need to cut a piece of pipe. And the way I measure this is, it's pretty simple. You know what I didn't measure actually was the height. I don't know if those are the same height. This is 33 3/8, and this is 35. Even worse because this one is pointing down, which means the pipes can come out here, but let's just see what it looks like. Whoever installed this crap didn't do a great job. I'm gonna go cut a piece of pipe and we'll figure it out from there. I got a bunch of extra. I got some 45s and stuff. So I need a piece of pipe, 38 3/4. All right, a little bit change of plan. I forgot that I needed to put a union in here. So cut a 1-foot-long piece, have the union in here so I can change sand or whatever. And then we're gonna go the rest of the way to that with some pipe, or try to. Hopefully I don't need to use too many 45 or anything, because like I said, that's pointing down, so it's a bummer. So I got this piece in. I think I'm going to run with it. If you can see, there's a little bit of a bow in that coupling. But I think I'm just going to go with it. I'll put a lot of glue on it. I could put some 45s in it and blah, 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 but I don't think it's going to matter. I think I may stick a chlorinator, automatic chlorinator in there anyways. And then I can kind of mess with that thing again, but I think it will be fine. So we'll glue that real good. I'll push it, make sure it's all tight. And if there's any issues, we'll just cut it back out and do it again. Just make sure it's together. Looks like it's together. All right, I've got this all dry fit, as you can see, and it looks like it's gonna work out just fine. This is just the pump and then return. So what I'm gonna do is get this all probably glued together, and then I'll go take a look at the back side. The drain side is out here. And we'll get that thing all going, but then we'll start filling it with sand. I ended up changing the elbow. I had like a slip elbow in there, but it was better if it came out a little bit. So, and like I said, I'll probably put a chlorinator in here. All right, let's get this stuff glued together. Wish I had made that piece, that flexible piece, just a little bit longer. I can rework that if that's an issue, but the plan right now is this is the drain line. So I'm gonna get that thing connected, and it looks like it's all angled crazy, so, which is a bummer. That usually means more fittings. But I do have a 45, so let's go get a 45. We'll get that all straightened out. I really need a 22 there. The first thing we are going to do is come off that drain line with a 90. We're going to kind of angle it 45 down to the wall, and then I'll tie into all that stuff. So let's get this measurement first. Do like 9 inches. Cut one 9 inches long. I need to put a union in here too, so I'll probably do it on this section. So maybe cut that piece first. Come out like 5 inches, put the union. So I'm just taking this, stick these together, stick it in here, and then I have to go from here down to here. So we'll get this, so we use this 45. The way I get the right angle on this is I just hold this and eyeball this, so you know it's gonna go straight down, right? Bam. I was thinking maybe I could get rid of the 45 altogether and go all the way with that 90, but I think that because of the angle of that drain pipe, I can't do it. Because it's going to send me over here, and it's going to be angled all weird. So I think I'm going to cut this piece now. I'm going to stick it right here because it looked roughly where that 45 was. So let's get that measurement. All right, let's get this measurement. This is the hard one. So I'm going to say about 1 foot. Let's try that. Got this going. Let's stick that thing in there. A little tighter than I was thinking. So we're gonna have to trim that, it looks like, because that's a little bit long. It's not all the way in, but that's a bummer. This will allow us to get the rest of the measurements though, so. Well, that was all right. And I forgot my tape measure again. Dang it. Oh, I used to do this for a living, so. Plumbing, so I think pretty good at it. Let's try to get that measurement. Probably a foot also. Let's try a foot. All right, we got the 45. Let's stick it in. Sure happens. This piece is definitely too long, but this will allow us to get the measurement between the 90 and the 45. So let's take that measurement right now. That is 22. As you can see, I've cut this bottom piece way long, which is fine. We'll just get it all trimmed up so it matches better. I may even have to trim this piece just a tad, but let's stick it all together and see what happens. I think that's probably good enough. You can see I've got it coming from discharge 90, slip 90, right to there, to that 90, then back into the drain line back there. I think that will all work. So next thing is we're gonna start gluing everything together. I'd like to get this thing turned on today. So I think I'm gonna start gluing back here. I'm gonna go check, make sure everything's good in the front or on the other side there. And we'll start gluing everything up. Well, everything looks good here. I don't think this is touching really anymore, so I'm gonna start by screwing in the return. I'm gonna glue it, screw it in, and then we will glue this way and get that all set and setting up. And then we're gonna work on the back side there. And then we'll be ready to get the pump put back together. It's got a couple pieces out of it, and hopefully start dumping sand in here and get this thing going today. All right, let's get to gluing. First, we'll dismantle this 90, or this union. Get some PVC glue and get ready to glue this thing. I need to PVC glue that. I'm gonna PVC glue this last because as you can see, there's some tension on this line. But it'll be fine. So let's Teflon tape that side. I've actually never used this blue monster before. It's one step, so you don't need any primer. So we're trying it today. It smells pretty strong. I just hold this thing like this. You hold it in your hands like that. Let's get some of this glue on there. I always put it on both sides. And I turn when I stick it in. Not sure how long this takes to set up, but fast setting, medium body, low FC. It's pretty strong in here, so it doesn't feel like medium body, but we're gonna Teflon tape this, screw it in, get this thing going. And I got glue all over my freaking fingers. It's actually hard to tighten this thing. This big wrench, I'll have to get some channel locks. Not going crazy tight on this, like I said. I think that's enough. Now the 90, I'm gonna do all three. Do this pipe, 90, and that pipe at the same time. Start with this one. Looks level. All right, now we're gonna glue this cut guide piece, and hopefully it all goes smoothly. I don't think I glued that thing, did I? Nope. Let's glue this side first, and I'll actually put some seal on that while I'm waiting. It would have been fun if I had turned that on, could you imagine? And I didn't glue this side. It would have squirted everywhere. Put some magic lube on this thing, so I don't have to disconnect it and redo it later. Got that glued. Now we need to glue all this other stuff. Really cool if this all goes together really smooth, but do this side of the union, that side of the pipe. Twist. And do this side of the union. And this pipe over here. I'm going to stick a chlorinator in this, so when I do that, I'll get more room in here, but good to go there. Now we're going to go do the other side. You need Teflon tape and pliers over there too. All right, hopefully no surprises on this side. I'm going to pull this apart. Oh, it looks good. Let's pull this apart. Kind of like a puzzle, putting these together sometimes, especially when things get tight. This one's not too bad, but when I used to be a plumber, sometimes it would get kind of crazy. Puzzle pieces. Making sure you could get all the joints where you needed them to. That looks good. Hopefully I can get all these and it not dry. What do you think? Dude, what in the heck, man? Get on there. Gosh. Was fighting me. Alrighty, hopefully I got that. There it is. Alright, I'm gonna let it sit up just a little bit, and then we're gonna fill it with sand, and hopefully everything works. Alright, I've got everything installed, as you can hopefully see. Now I'm gonna disconnect it all and fill it up with sand. That top part, the multi-port valve, the black part, we're going to pull off and put 350 pounds of sand in it after we fill it with water. I got to fill it halfway up with water, so we'll do that, and then we will hopefully get a start here in, I don't know, about an hour. Going to start by pulling off this thing. Then I'll disconnect the unions and pull that whole multi-port off. All right, when you're filling this thing up with sand, it's important to first make sure all the laterals are down, which they look to be. Put this thing over it so no sand gets in there. That'll keep the sand from getting in that pipe, so that's pretty important to do that correctly. I'm gonna fill it, I don't know, halfway up with water, and then we'll start dumping sand in it. And I've got this thing going, so get that filled up. I was filling it up and this thing is leaking, so I don't even know how that works, but is that it? Okay. Not that big of a deal, but hopefully that doesn't happen again. That could have been bad if all the dang water fell out of that while I was filling it up. All right, it's about half full of water. So we are going to start dumping sand in it. Let's put that cardboard cover back on. Get the laterals. This is not going to be too much fun. Six more bags. All right, I've got this thing filled up with 350 pounds of sand. Hi, baby. And now we're going to stick the multi-port valve back on. All right, I got all the sand installed, the multi-port valve hooked up, clamped on, drain, pump line, return, go into the return on the pool. And now I just need to hook up this valve that somehow got taken apart. And then we'll get ready to start it. So, all right, let me see if I can find that dang valve. All right, hopefully this thing is still good. Of course, there's crud in there. Thought I was missing one. I was about to get angry. I've got to put a pressure gauge right in there. So let's go get that pressure gauge. All right, here is the pressure gauge. Mine came with Teflon tape. Now, you need to be really careful with these because these will crack if you go too crazy with them. So it says to turn it hand tight. And then 1.5 turns maximum. So hopefully I can do that. Not wanting to feed right now, so good catch. Get it? Nope. God dang it. Seriously? Got it. All right, we're gonna leave it like that. If it leaks, I'll just tighten it a little bit more. I've got to go deal with the pool side. I got to open up some of the returns and supplies, and then we will come back in here and hopefully prime the pump and get this thing turned on. So I'll be back. All right, I've got everything hooked back up and I'm getting ready to start the pump, and hopefully it primes real quick and we can... Already leaking. Leaking down there. Looks like around these pipe fittings, so I need to find that. Need to find that tool. It's like really loose on there. That's crazy. Wonder why that is. It's annoying. take this one off and put it up higher, see what happens. There might not be any, I can't remember how tall that, let me get my drill. I can't remember how tall that flange was that was in there, that barb fitting, so. Crazy it's spinning like that because the other one didn't do that. And it looks cross-threaded, so that's probably an issue. It's cross-threaded. So let's see if we got it now. May have to fill this pump back up with water. Let's fill that back up with water. All right, okay, it's all running. I got one little leak on the pump side here. So I'm just gonna loosen this and then tighten that thing. And that should fix that. But everything else is working. So I'm gonna shut it off here real quick and try to tighten this up without going crazy. And then we'll do the next part of the initial startup. Here, let's try that. Put this to rinse. And we are just looking to see, make sure that's clear, which it already is clear, but we're gonna run it for about 2 more minutes. This thing is still leaking, so I either need to put more Teflon tape on it or tighten it more. Then get another tighten next time I shut the pump off. Got good flow. When I had my DE filter, I was always getting air bubbles in there, and I didn't really know why. There's a little here, but it was way worse before. I guess it was because my DE filter was bad, and there's a big couple tears in it, and blah, blah, blah. So, anyways, let's let this go for a few more minutes, and then we'll get to filtering and stabilize the pool. All right, all done. It's 6 o'clock, 5:50. I don't know when I started this, probably 9 or 10 this morning. But I was gone for a couple hours getting supplies. So however many hours that is, it was a bunch of time, but we got it done. We completely replaced the old worn out DE filter with a 350-pound Hayward sand filter. Ran new flex lines. This is the old pump, new hard line, and a new waste line. I've already backwashed it, rinsed it, and I'm gonna install a chlorinator probably next week. Next 2 weeks, I'll order that sucker. I should have got it today, but I spent a ton of money. I got a little drip I got to deal with on the multiport on the back side, but when I go to install a chlorinator, I will deal with it then. I just got to put a little more Teflon tape or some goop or something on that, and it will go away. So not a big deal. All in all, wasn't too bad, just labor intensive. This Hayward filter was like $7.85 on Amazon. I spent another $400 on fittings and 350 pounds of sand. And then I spent another whatever on pipe, I can't remember. About a 10-foot length of pipe, which I used almost all of it, and some hose clamps, and that's it. So worked out good. Hey, let me know what you think. I thought this was pretty straightforward. Never done one before. I do have a plumbing background, so there is that. But no big deal. Let me know if you have any questions. Here's the mess I pulled out. Old chlorinator, which was broken somehow. I'm putting another one of those in. And then that's the old DE filter. If you get anybody has a good link for a chlorinator, do I need to go back with a Hayward one, or can I go with one of the cheaper ones on Amazon? Because The Hayward one's 120, and you get a cheaper one for like between 50 and 70 bucks. So it's a lot different in price. Time to get the water balanced. I gotta pull this off and put bleach in it and blah, blah, blah. So, alrighty, catch you in the next one.